I've been working with Kahlil now for, probably the last 6 or 7 months. And it's been a really exciting journey. She is just a remarkable person. And not only does she teach mindfulness at George Washington University, she also works with children's services, with youth services. She conducts uh, listening groups, I guess you'd call them, for children in Montgomery County. And in many ways, she and I have had some similar paths, I think, in our lives. So, Kahlil, would you tell us more first about your work as a gender economist? I just found that fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. I worked as a gender economist for about 10 to 12 years, primarily in Africa, working with women's organizations, primarily West and East, some in South, focused on microcredit, things like productive health. And in one country, Benin, we actually opened the first ever domestic violence shelter. So just really fulfilling work, helping people to help themselves. And when I decided to pivot about 12 years ago, it seemed like a very natural pivot to, I needed to find something closer to home where I didn't have to get on a plane and go anywhere. And mindfulness and really yoga and meditation were my entry points to this mindfulness journey. So,
So,
mhm.
Kahlil, before you go further, I should probably to make sure that people know that this session is being recorded. And please mute yourself if you haven't already. And we will have a chance towards the end of the session, probably the last 5 or 10 minutes for questions, or we'll give people an opportunity to hang out for further discussions as well. Okay, so sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
So, just sort of fast forwarding, I initially got involved with working with actually teen moms in Ward 7 and 8 here in Washington, D.C. And I mention that because having an opportunity to sort of be engulfed in the process of birth and to assist with that process really brought me into a state of awareness as I was practicing and teaching yoga. I first came to George Washington University as a yoga and meditation instructor, and that was in 2007. Can't believe how fast time has gone by. And then later progressed into being able to teach a stress management class to college students, which has been amazing. And so all of those experiences, as I look at my journey, have landed me here as a mindfulness instructor, working with, you know, babies in utero and moms, all the way up to elementary, junior high, high school, and college. And so I love my job. And it's very similar, in terms of awareness, in terms of understanding supply and demand, understanding micro and macro. But now it's the focus is what we're going to be talking about today. The focus is on me. The focus is on you. The focus is on us. And how do we develop that mastery of self um, that will aid in hopefully cultivating mindful self-care and really bolstering and helping also to cultivate our self-confidence.
So, do you just want to go ahead and keep
Going for it?
going forward? Yep.
Yes, yes. So I would like to, just first thank everyone for joining us today. And I'm really, really excited to be here. And my goal today is going to be to really feed you, since this is the lunch hour, with something that you can um, digest for a long time to come. Okay, so today we are focused on cultivating mindful self-care to bolster confidence. And I have to say, a deep I'm deeply grateful and just very, very appreciative of Dr. Christine Mason and the Center for Educational Improvement, and asking me to come on board to do some work that I've been longing to do for a really, really long time. So I'm just really grateful, and thank you, Christine. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. So I love this quote just to sort of put us in the mindset. And it says, people look for retreats for themselves in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. And I don't think this has been more true than the year 2020, where we've all wanted to go somewhere, another country, by the coast, in the hills. However, there is nowhere that a person can find a more peaceful and trouble free retreat than in its own mind. So constantly give yourself this retreat and renew yourself. So I want us to think about this quote as we look at the idea of mindfulness and confidence and self care. And so today, just really quickly, we want to spend some time talking about mindfulness and self-care, and what does that mean to us individually and collectively. Maybe just taking a minute, this whole idea of self-confidence, how does that relate to our self-awareness? And why? Why mindful self-care, and how can this bolster our self-confidence? And then we're going to do, it's not all talk, because mindfulness is doing and being in the process. So we're going to do some practice exercises. We're hoping at the end of this webinar that we all have a deeper understanding of mindfulness and self-care, and really open to the idea of practice, and being able to experience um, stronger self-confidence. Um, Also, how do we apply these tools and these techniques to our day-to-day lives? And again, just some activities that we will be doing today that you can cultivate on your own wherever you are. All right. So, like Christine said, it's been a crazy, wild morning to go with this crazy, wild year that we've been having. So, I would like for us all, just take a moment to get in our bodies. Just take a moment to breathe, to shift gears from whatever we were doing before this webinar, whatever we're anticipating afterwards. Let's just take a moment to center and to be grounded. So wherever we are, I want us just to sit up. I'm sitting at a chair, at a desk. My feet are flat on the floor. I'm going to take a moment to focus on my posture, maybe roll back my shoulders. I want to sit up nice and tall. Maybe close my eyes, maybe gaze downward, whatever feels comfortable in my body in this moment. So just take a moment just to breathe, nothing else. Inhale and exhale, and just begin to notice your body, notice your breath. If it feels right, maybe bring the eyes, focus right at the brow point. They say when we focus in this area, we stimulate our pituitary gland. So let's just take a moment to breathe, to be present. In and out of the nose. All right. So now let's open the eyes. And what I want us to do for our opening activity, I thought what might be fun is to do a little whistle breathing. And why whistle breathing? A couple of things, maybe change that, it works with our circulatory system. helps to create balance, and more importantly, helps to stimulate our vagus nerve, and this is something that really helps to relieve stress and any type of tension we're carrying in the body. So, for those of us that don't know, the vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in our body. It's connecting to everything. It's actually considered the wanderer, the wanderer, just sort of all over the body. So I want us to think about that and really think about it also being the part of the parasympathetic. It's that rest and digest part of the nervous system. So we're going to stimulate that, which means we're going to release some tension. We're going to let go of anything that happened this morning, any residual we're carrying from yesterday, last week, or even last year. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to whistle. When we whistle, the tongue activates those higher glands, such as the thyroid, the parathyroid, and it also increases our lung capacity. They say that we should whistle every day, right? And if we can do it for, 3 minutes, it's going to really help to relax us. So we're going to pucker up those lips. Ready? Let's go. Pucker up your lip. I see you, Diana. There you go. Yes. And we're going to concentrate at our brow point. So inhale through the mouth. And it doesn't have to sound like me. Exhale through the nose. Inhale, high pitch sound. Exhale through the nose. Close the eyes. Just let yourself have an experience. This is your lunchtime. This is for you. Inhale through the nose. Pucker up those lips. We're inhaling through the mouth, exhaling through the nose. Close the eyes if it feels comfortable. Relax the body. Remember, we're stimulating our vagus nerve. We're relaxing. We're releasing any stress. Just whistle. Expand your lung capacity. One more minute. You got it. Relax your body. Relax your facial muscles. Relax your shoulders. Let's do 5 more. And inhale deeply. And let's exhale through the nose. Let's smile and stretch our arms up, shake our hands, and let's start our mindfulness journey. Yeah, there we go. No stagnation here. We're letting it go. Yes, yes, this is the lunch hour. This is when we feed ourselves. All right, all right. So let's take a moment and think about this idea, this word, this concept, confidence. Confidence. Confidence is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. Think about that. And I also want you to take a moment. When was the last time you felt confident? What did that feel like? How did you feel in your confident state? What were you doing? What was going on? That I believe in me moment. So as you think about that, they say that there are 10 ways that we build confidence. And that's get things done. Confidence is built on accomplishment. What are some of the things that you thought about? When we are confident, We're monitoring our progress. Another way to build confidence is to do the right thing, our values, to exercise, to be fearless, the ability to stand up for ourselves, to follow through, to think long term, not to care what others think, to do more of what makes you happy. Just think about that. And think about the contrast you had when you were thinking about that time in your life when you felt most confident. How does this work? How do we develop confidence? How do we develop all 10 of those things? Research has shown that it's really awareness. And I also love this quote. First, know yourself. Then you will begin to understand why things are as they are and why life is as it is. First, know yourself. Then you will begin to understand why things are as they are and why life is as it is. I love this quote, and it reminds me of my students at George Washington University. And, I often remind them that as we are in this university studying all of the worldly issues that we need to understand as we're moving on our journey, the first thing that we want to understand and the first thing that we want to know is ourselves, our universe. What do you know about yourself? So that brings us to self-awareness, and what is that about? That's that mirror, that's that identity, that's that growth and development. That's focus, that's awareness, that's behavior, that's values, that's consciousness. Sometimes it's confusing, but awareness. And why do we think about self-awareness? And what is the connection between awareness and confidence? So here's a quote, and it says, "Today I will live in the moment, unless the moment is unpleasant, in which I will eat a cookie." Think about that. Think about that. Our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions. So that brings us to this idea. And we hear and we've heard, if we didn't learn anything else, I think in 2020, this idea of mindfulness. It's been floating around, for 30, 40, 50 years. But I think 2020, a lot of us really tuned in and really, really thought about what is mindfulness? A state of active, open attention on the present. And let's think about this. In most instances, most of us are either in the past or we're in the future. What's going on tomorrow? What's going to happen next week? I see this in every aspect of life. I remember being pregnant. When I was in my first trimester, I couldn't wait until the second trimester. When I was in the second trimester, couldn't wait for the baby to be born. And then the baby was born, couldn't wait for the baby to walk. Then the baby was walking, couldn't wait until the baby could start, running. And now, my oldest is a junior in college. And I want to backtrack a little bit. Like, can we slow this thing down? So again, that state of active, open attention on the present so that we don't miss anything. You don't miss, when they grow up, and you don't wish that they're, ahead. We just want to be present. We want to be able to observe our thoughts and our feelings from a distance without judgment, without attachment. All right, so let's look at this. Maybe. So again, we've already said it, mindfulness, being present, the be here now. So what does it actually look like? What does it feel like? When we're being mindful in our lives, when we're being mindful in our professions, when we're being mindful, just when we're just being walking down the street. It's attention, it's intention, it's presence, it's openness, attention to that, to whatever is going on and not missing one second of your life. Intention, understanding, the presence, the openness. So we say yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That is why we call. So again, when we're thinking about our confidence and we're thinking about and we're moving into, right now we're talking about mindfulness, but as we move into self-care, why are these things important? How does it aid into what I'm doing right now? Well, when we think about mindfulness, when we think about self-care, even for a few minutes, they say here a few weeks, but even for a few minutes, if we're practicing mindfulness, we are going to experience physical, psychological, and social benefits. Everything from a boost in our immune system, increased confidence, positive emotions, increases gray matter in our brain, learning, memory, emotion regulation, empathy, helps us to focus, to tune out distractions, foster compassion, empathy for ourselves, for others, as individuals, as parents, in our schools, in our prisons, in our healthcare systems, professionals, veterans, wherever we are, helping to enhance our relationships. All of these things are, as we look at COVID-19, as we look at the Black Lives Matter movement, as we look at our own mental health issues, when we think about mindfulness and how to take better care of ourselves and what are the tools that we have. We want to have healthier responses to difficult social situations. We need a reduction in implicit biases, spending time with that awareness, taking time to breathe, taking time to be present, increasing our compassion. So, the question I ask you, we ask each other because it takes a village. Can mindfulness increase our confidence? Yes, yes, yes. And we say adios to autopilot. How often, and I would always give myself this test when I'm driving. And especially when I'm driving places that I've driven to, over and over again. And I find myself in a state of autopilot, which is really dangerous when you're driving. But I can still drive my car and not think about, and not be aware. And again, mindfulness tools are scientifically proven to calm down our mind, to slow down those habitual thinking patterns. Those are those thoughts of insecurity, those negative thought patterns, that subconscious, so much is feeding our subconscious, and it really aids and contributes to low self-esteem and really can infringe on our confidence. So when we look at mindfulness and confidence, we're talking about not only having strengthen and a boost in our self-confidence, but also people that practice mindfulness and self-care, we're happier, right? And that's what we want. And so I thought that this was important because things are going to happen. We had a lot of lost, that bad stuff. We're dealing, coming out of, being in our homes, for over a year, and then there was some good stuff that happened. But irrespective of what is going on, we want to kind of stay on that steady level of happiness. You know, um, one of my teachers once said that, we need to have a nervous system of steel, because you don't know in that wave of life what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. We just want to be able to sustain ourselves. So again, what makes people happy has less to do with what they are doing and more to do with whether their attention is fully present in the moment. So I love this. It says, once I realized that the problem was not you, But within me, I found inner peace and was able to harness the flow of the universe. Just think about that. And I love because when we talk about mindfulness, mindfulness is almost like a superpower, right? A superpower that we can use for ourselves, for others. So, so how do we begin to cultivate being more mindful so that we can have these better self-care practices? Let's just look at some of the qualities of being mindful, you know, being non-judging. And I want you to think about yourself, that inner voice, that little voice that nobody else hears, those little things that we say. And actually, it's not always little. These sometimes those repetitive things that we say, you know, um, not being not judging ourselves, developing patience, fostering a beginner's mind that is open to life's experiences. I love that idea of having or thinking childlike and how children approach, everything, with their undivided attention, with curiosity as if they've never seen or had the experience. Extending trust, becoming non striving, demonstrating acceptance of whatever is happening. Just think about how much resistance there was this time last year because none of us knew what was happening with COVID-19. None of us knew, how do I take care of myself? How do I survive this? Letting go. A part of us had to let go, physical, spiritual, yeah, and we had to allow ourselves not to become attached. Last year, a lot of us could have gotten swallowed up with fear. So again, how, moving into this idea of self-care, how do we use this idea of awareness, this idea of knowingness, to know thyself, and apply it to self-care, and being deliberate in that effort. So what is self-care, and why is it important? I get my nails done, I go out, I do things for myself. Well, if we look at the definition, it says that self-care is our ability as human beings to function effectively in the world while meeting the multiple challenges of daily life with a sense of energy, with a sense of vitality, and a sense of confidence. Your self care is important for your physical, for your emotional, for your mental, for your spiritual, for your lifestyle, for your health, and your self care requires active engagement. It requires us to in day out. Without self care, relationships can suffer. Because now it's so, it's that old adage, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. You can't do anything for anybody else if we're not doing anything for ourselves. The other thing is self care makes us more effective, more energetic, um, and it produces positive feelings, and improves, again, our self confidence and our self esteem. This is my absolute favorite quote by Audre Lorde. And she says, caring for myself is not self indulgence, it is self preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. And just think about that. Think about taking care of yourself not as an act of self indulgence, but self preservation. And I want you to think about those things that you are doing right now to take care of yourself. What are some of your self-care practices? And maybe if you will, just maybe take a moment, if you wouldn't mind just typing in the chat. What are things that we're doing today to take care of ourselves? Are we maybe taking a walk? Some of us may practice yoga, maybe meditate, even if it's just standing in the sun, having our pineal gland stimulated, getting vitamin D. You know, there's so many ways that we can take care of ourselves. But I want us to begin to, you know, and how do we get away from making ourselves, you know, we're always the sacrificial lamb. You know, when anything has to go, it's always art. You know, it's like, oh well, I guess I can't take that walk. I can't do my run. I have deadlines. I have this. But how do we practice self-care? You know, when was the last time you made a date with yourself? When was the last time you praised yourself for doing something awesome? How often do we unplug or do intermittent fasting with social media? How about that? Journal, meditate, you know, take a class. You know, we've been able to do so much online, you know, doing something fun that feeds your soul, taking a nap, a power nap, you know, eating something that we enjoy. All of these things can be done mindfully, you know, decluttering, helping people, touching a pet, spending time with real friends, people who love you, people who uplift you. These are all ways that we can practice self care. You know, just breathing, just visualizing, whistling, laughing. Again, being present, practicing compassion for ourselves, for our children, for others, being aware of our thoughts, realizing that thoughts are not always facts. Also, feeding our subconscious mind, you know, realizing that there's so much. If we are sitting around, if you watch, I don't even know how long it takes before watching CNN and MC, you know, all of those new, you know, because you want to be informed, but how much can your subconscious mind take? And then what are we doing to counter it? Positive affirmations. What are our affirmations? Acknowledging what we're feeling. You know, a part of that mindfulness, a part of awareness is allowing ourselves to open up to all of our senses. And that's not anything that we have to buy. You don't have to go on Zoom. You just need to tune in to what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're tasting, what you're smelling. Be aware of our breath. We were breathing, the vagus nerve, that deep breath, relaxing the body. And again, being aware of the body. In just a few minutes, we're going to end this session with a body scan. You know, befriending gravity. So again, I say, Dr. Tina Runyon once said that you can't be of service to anybody else unless you're taking care of yourself. So let's practice. Let's practice our awareness of our senses and try it on for size. So here is a self-care strategy. We're not going to take 5 minutes today, but we're going to do it for a few minutes. And again, remember, this is our lunch hour. This is the time that we've chosen to feed ourselves. And so we're going to take just a few minutes to, again, move into our bodies, to feel our bodies, to really connect with our breath, realizing that we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything. We just need to be present and sit with our feelings, sit with our thoughts, allow them to just sort of move, just as if we were, our thoughts was sort of moving down a river. So let's again, if it feels right, let's close our eyes, let's roll back our shoulders. Remember, spine and posture, really, really important. Maybe think about again when you felt most confident in your life, most recently. Maybe think about ways that you are able to practice self-care. Eyes are closed. And I want you to begin to visualize a bright light. If you're in Washington, D.C., it's a beautiful day here today. The sun is really bright. So just imagine, just visualize that bright light That bright sun, the energy of the sun, always warm and calming. Feel the top of your head, feel the warmth of the sun on your face. Maybe even smile. Really connect with your breath, inhaling, feeling your diaphragm, noticing, visualizing your lungs expanding. And just breathe, almost like that wave in an ocean. We're inhaling, expand. On the exhale, we're just letting go. Feel the energy of the light relaxing the tension on the back of your neck and shoulders. We hold lots of tension in the neck and the shoulders. Just breathe. Practicing self-care. Feel free to place one or both of your hands over your heart and just begin to feel the rise and fall of your chest and breathe. If possible, breathing long and deep, breathing from our lower belly, allowing ourselves to have a full experience, being aware of what's going on in this moment, in this breath. Just taking a few more seconds to be selfish in this moment. Bring your focus back to the light. Feel the light on your legs. Feel it on your feet, the soles of your feet, all 10 of your toes. Feel that energy in your ankles and your shins, and breathe. Remind yourself that I'm breathing in, expand. I'm breathing out, release. Just be mindfully aware in this moment, in this breath. Just drop in. With your beginner's mind, explore yourself from the inside out, as if you've never met yourself before. What do you need? Feel that energy moving in your knees and your thighs. We're just breathing, using the breath to bring in that vitality, that calm. On that exhale, we're releasing any tension. I still want you to resist the urge to move into your future or to revisit your past. Challenge yourself to be here now. Feel that energy, that light moving through your belly. Feel that light in your liver and your pancreas. Feel that light in your navel center, moving into your heart. Feel that energy. Visualize your lungs expanding. Relax the shoulders. Breathing into your throat. Mindful. of that place, that space of self-expression. Be present. In this moment, in this breath, smile. The body, the brain knows not if anything is funny or if you have anything to smile. There's just a chemical reaction. So smile. Relaxing all of your facial muscles. Notice your jaw. Remember that whistle, that tongue pressing against the upper palate, stimulating the hypothalamus, stimulating our pineal gland, stimulating the pituitary gland. Relax and breathe. Be present. Feel that light moving down your spine. Using the breath to renew your body. Again, that wave in the ocean, feel the expansion. Relaxing our adrenals, relaxing our kidneys, relaxing our buttocks. Again, give yourself a smile. Deeply breathe into your nose. Feel that expansion. This time, let's open up the mouth. Exhale. Again, inhale through the nose. Exhale, open the mouth. One last time, breathe in. Open the mouth nice and wide, breathe out. Gently stretch the arms up. Reach for the sky, reach for the sun. Shake the hands, shake the body, shake, 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 shake. And coming back to ourselves. Let's take a moment. And I leave you with, they say we should do 3 things every single day. 3 things that keep the stress away. 3 things, because stress will block our confidence. Stress will interrupt our self-care. Stress will interrupt our mindfulness. And so 3 things, if we're dancing, if we're laughing, and if we're sweating, we're not stressing. So, which one of those 3 things do you think we're going to do today? We're going to laugh. We're going to laugh. So again, the brain, the body, it doesn't know that nothing's funny. We're just going to laugh. So I'm not going to force you to take yourself off mute to hear if you're really doing it. I'm going to trust you. But let's laugh. So here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Kahlil, you make me laugh.
Inhale. Exhale. And just take a moment. There we go. And there you have it. Self-care, mindfulness, confidence. It takes a village. Let's take care of ourselves and take care of one another. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And if there are any questions, I would love to open up the floor Um, and just before I do that, I just want to just also mention here some takeaways. I definitely would encourage um, maybe looking at some apps that focus on gratitude, maybe some of these meditation, stop, breathe, and think, calm. Um, and then there's self-care and confident apps like Hello Mind, Think Up. Again, think about all of the ways that we get an opportunity to reprogram our subconscious. So when we're taking those short or long walks, sitting on our porch or whatever we're doing, just maybe think about some of these things. So I
So,
think,
Kahlil,
yeah.
thank you so much. Wow, what a journey. I mean, what a retreat we had during the last hour. This was fantastic. I have a couple of thoughts, and then we did have one comment that I want to get to. And while you're thinking of your questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat box or unmute yourself. We'll try to figure out who it is who wants to speak. You can raise your hand. That would be a good way to proceed. Anyway, when we think about everything we've been through this last year and everything that teachers have had to learn, you've had to learn how to hold a class on Zoom, or how to have a hybrid class so that some of your kids see you on Zoom and some of them are right there in front of you. And think about all the confidence you had to work on developing, because all the strategies you had over the past 17 years just didn't work quite as well under the circumstances we were under. And the same thing goes for our kids. You know, they had to learn how they could be effective as learners when they weren't right in the classroom with all the prompts and all the visual aids and supports that you get in the classroom. And it's been a tough year.
Yeah.
So confidence is one of those things that is really important right now. And we've had lots of opportunities to realize, wow, it's not as easy this way as it was before. What we know about confidence is many times it takes practice. Not only does it take awareness of, gee, this is maybe what I could do differently. Or, sometimes meditating, I don't know about the rest of you, it's like out of the blue, something will come to me. It's just like an answer. And it's so amazing. And I think it's partly that my mind is just really calmed down. So the neurons are firing in just a little different way. Neural pathways are open in a
Mhm.
different way.
Mhm.
And with that, we sometimes get solutions. But then from that point of kind of realizing what needs to happen, there's the whole thing of walking the walk, practicing, practicing, practicing. And I know, that many of us who teach yoga, we're taught that we have to have discipline. You know, we usually get up early in the morning, many of us, some of us late at night, and do a practice. And it's even on the days when you don't feel like rolling out of bed, you know, when in fact you're pretty tired and it's like, I don't know if I can quite do it today. You learn to do it. And that's one of those things that builds that sense of confidence as it builds self care. The other part I just want to say is I think it's almost like hand in glove. If in fact you feel confident, then you can probably think about everything that you've done in terms of self care. You
Mhm.
know, are you washing your face, brushing your teeth? Um, doing those things that we just normally need to do as part of our routine. So, as the last part of the class was going on, we had one comment about, gee, this is difficult. And I wasn't sure, I think it was Daniel who said it. And I wasn't sure if it was difficult to meditate, to do the body scan, or if it was difficult just to sit and laugh.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you're still with us. If so, speak out. Otherwise, Kahlil, what can we do if we find these things difficult?
I think when you find the things difficult, sometimes it's just we put too much on ourselves. One of the things that we talked about in the article was we don't need to start with Mount Everest. Sometimes, people assume if you say meditate or mindfulness, what does that mean? I need to be somewhere and I have to do it for 60 minutes. You can do a lot of these things. You can start with just even doing it for a minute, working your way to 3 minutes, to 7 minutes, to, and, and it's the same as anything, in 2004, I ran a marathon, and I remember, and I was in one of those camps where they teach you. And I remember the first day we had to run from Southwest to the Capitol, and I made it halfway, and I was like, oh my God, I won't be able to do it. But 6 months after training, I was able to run 26.2 miles. And I won't ever tell anybody my time, but I did finish and I got the little medal. But the point is starting where you are, and not stressing yourself out, not, you don't have any expectations. One of the qualities of mindfulness, just sort of detaching from the process and just allowing yourself to be, really to be instead of always doing. But it is hard. It's hard. I mean, what has helped me this last year has really been teaching, because there were a lot of days I couldn't do it for myself, but I would get up and I would do it for my students, and invariably I would teach myself, and also I would have to hold myself accountable. But it is very, very hard.
So another question is, it seems like everything we've said today is very applicable to adults and, K-12 children, but what about younger children? What can we do?
Younger children as well. I love it. One of the projects that I worked on fairly recently with ASI, and it was with early childhood development centers right here in Washington, D.C. And they were the best. I mean, with the smaller children, we would do things like the audio. So one of the things that I would love is the bells, the Tibetan bells. I would have them count to maybe 10 or 5, depending on how old they are. With breathing, I love it. We have these little ducks, and I would put it on their stomachs, because they would just be wanting the duck to move up and down. But what was happening was that expansion in their lungs, like what you were saying, those neural pathways are being opened and they're just in a more calm state. When you're talking about learning and doing. So the children were the best. I mean, we could blow bubbles, to practice breathing, and we could sing songs. So there's so many ways. I love the idea of being childlike, with adults, because sometimes that's hard because we're adults and we're so hardwired. But if we could be more like children and just more adaptable and just open, but we're getting there.
Well, I have to say, I really enjoy this middle of the day, middle of the week program. Seems like it's a real wonderful, mindful break from all the things we have to do as we go about our day to day. I want to thank everyone for being with us. I want to remind you that actually Kahlil will be with us next week. We have a panel that's going to be talking about mindful leadership, executive functioning, and more actually on mindfulness, just the whole thing about what do you do in the academics to really integrate mindfulness into academics. And with us, in addition to Kahlil, will be Paul Liebenow, our president of CEI, who is really distributing a lot of this material in Michigan, per se, where he's executive director of Elementary School Principals Association. We've also got Jeff Donald, who is with Montgomery County, and he was on, yeah, he's still here. So hi, Jeff. He'll be talking about what it means to be a mindfulness coordinator and how we can help spread this through such a position. We'll have a teacher talking. Anyway, it should be a really fun time again. So it's next Wednesday, and I hope to see you. Watch for our announcements. We also have a Heart Mind community, which, a lot of things that Kahlil talked about are in our newsletter. She wrote a newsletter for us for our March edition. So you'll hear more, you'll see more from her because, I mean, what you do, Kahlil, is amazing. It's just, it's so wonderful to have this chance just to sit here in the calmness and listen to you. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you all.
Okay, we will follow up. We will give you slides and I know, follow-up message will be coming hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, within a day or so. Okay? Take care. Hope to see you soon. And Susanna, you want to hang around for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, good. Kahlil, if you want to stay too, Susanna is someone I met years ago and through one of the people who's on our coordinating committee in our board for the coalition. And she's an amazing person, a designer who I don't know what the latest thing is, but I'm gonna learn a little about it and we're gonna try to figure out how to meet up and do more. But it is definitely related to the Coalition for the Future of Education work that we're doing together. So
Great.
yeah. So Susanna, how are you?
Very good. This was terrific. I can't believe that while I was being mindful and going through the exercises, I have a page of notes of items that uh, while you were talking, while we were doing this exercise. So uh, it fits in with what Christine has been doing for a long, long time. I remember when we were, I don't know how many years ago that was, but
Probably a decade.
maybe it might be.
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
were talking about mindfulness then, and sometimes a word gets in your way. You know, you're absolutely for everything, but because it's housed in a particular word and you have a predetermined idea of what that is, you don't listen correctly. So I'm thankful for this, and also part of the thing that I'm doing involves working with a uh, company in Germany that's artificial intelligence, but he is writing a book on flow and flow in the classroom and
Yeah.
performance. It's pretty much, I mean, flow is acknowledged a lot of places and has been for quite a while.
Mhm.
But I think he's applying artificial intelligence to it, and uh, very interesting. I think he would love the notes that I just took on this, tying a lot of things together. So basically, what happened is that I've been looking for some way to recreate the job I had at Mattel Toys, which I was head of a think tank group. And so all day long, our goal was to think about finding those things that are fun that can be turned into aids for learning, and playing actually, and then making them into products and presenting them to the company and seeing which ones they liked, and then testing them to see if kids really like them. It's the I don't know what other industry actually has the proof of pudding being fun. In other words, it's like very strange, that if you make tomato sauce, it's in the taste, and whether people like that. But when it's toys and play, it's a, did you really play? Was it really fun? Did you get taken out of your everyday life into a little special garden where you can play? And I've been very, very interested in gaming. I took a course the fall of 2019, so it feels like it's a year and a half ago. Anyway, and absolutely loved it. Uh, I've been in the toy industry since probably 1973,
Wow.
uh, but hadn't focused on games. Just loved the idea. So the scene that you see behind me there is the atrium of the campus that I bought.
Wow.
It is where Jim Davis created Garfield, the cat. So I've been looking for a place, and out of this gaming class that I took, I got to know a couple of my classmates where, I think I'm older than their grandmothers, to tell you the truth. But in any case, taking this class, and I told a couple of them and the instructor that I was looking for space, that I wanted to create this design incubator think tank for fun and the future. That's why it says help design the future in the background there. Anyway, I got a call one Saturday, and my classmate said, "I think I found your place." And it was in a rural area, uh, and it for sale sign. And he, sent me the number, and I called them up, saw the place, and before the end of the year, I had purchased it. So now I've spent a year and a few months uh, thinking and planning and researching and talking to people and all kinds of things about what can this be. What,
Mm.
what, what is the future of education? What is the future of fun? What is the future of health? I mean, it's all of these things fit
Mhm.
here, and so it has some stress in it because it costs a lot of money to keep this place going, and
Mhm.
especially during this time when you can't get people together. It's been this downtime where I just needed to connect with as many people as I could, different areas of interests and expertise, uh, to figure out what is this place and who is it for. And I can see teachers' retreats here when we're back to doing that,
Yeah.
but
Mm.
you have just introduced, a different kind of retreat here. So that's also can be packaged. I can package this place as, and I actually am working on doing a mirroring of this place as a virtual place, so that you can feel like you're here, but you're also online. So
Mhm.
anyway, that's sort of the overview
Wow.
of what I'm trying to do. So it's been exciting.
Uh,
So
well,
I
it
love
is. I'm so glad that we had a chance to see you and talk. And I'm going to talk to Misty Patchke, who's the director of the coalition, and we will figure out like when to get you to one of our upcoming coordinating committee meetings,
excellent.
so you can share some. And I'm going to send you some papers. We'd love you to sign on to the
Okay.
coalition. We're going to come out with some really broad announcements for anyone else who's hanging around. Uh, Coalition for the Future of Education, we're really trying to influence the Biden administration, the Department of Education, to say, hey, when we reopen schools, what should really happen? You know, what
Mhm.
works for kids, what works for adults.
Yes.
And let's take the time to be a little creative, a little innovative,
Yes.
and to vision. So instead of just planning and doing, we
Right.
pause a bit and reflect before we jump into it.
Absolutely. I think that this is an excellent time, when things have been shaken up this much. The pieces don't fit back together the old way. They're sort of floating out of there and need to be turned around and create a whole new picture. Many of the things that we already know are valuable, but they're just not connected in a way that's attractive or compelling.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, Khalil, do you have anything else you want to say? I'm thinking, it's almost 10 after 1, so we've gone over a little.
Oh, yeah, no, I just enjoy the synergy. I just think it's just so interesting when Susanna was talking, it's just the journey, because you wonder like, oh, Mattel, and now even when I think about my life, it's just it's all one thing. It looks like a lot of different things, but it's really just one path. And I just enjoy hearing, and it seems like that's next level. I mean, just hearing you say, what is the future of education? What is the future of fun? You forget when you're talking about education, it should be fun. And the word should be used synonymously, because you don't always think that. You think hard, difficult, challenge, you don't think education, learning, awareness, fun. Um, so yeah, combined with healthcare and wellness and self-care. Yeah, I
You know,
just
I'm also, you're reminding me of a couple of pieces that have been floating around, and I knew they went together, but I didn't have them aligned in the right way. But I've also, as I'm doing this, I am having advisors from the business world.
Mhm.
But what I find is the business world needs to be shaken up
Mhm.
because the idea, if I should have started like a year ago to create a business plan, is nuts. It's
Mhm.
nuts because I didn't know what these pieces were and how they fit together. And a friend who's very, very successful businessman, when I told him sort of what I wanted to do, he said, too many moving parts.
Mm.
Mm.
Which is very, very interesting. This is not a normal business development. And I think that there is a professor at MIT that teaches a course on business on hunches. That actually, when you're in business, you have a hunch, you test it, and you go on to
Mhm.
the next hunch. That you cannot, or Steve Jobs saying he couldn't have predicted where he would be. You know, you can only draw the lines after you've been through them, because there's no path that is quite obvious that you take. Anyway, this has been great. I know you need to go on. I actually have another Zoom.
Okay.
How in the world did we fill up our lives with Zooms? It's
I
like
don't know.
amazing. But this has
Well,
been
everyone,
great.
thank you so much. Khalil, we'll be in touch. And to everyone else, have a great day.
Thank
And
you.
see you
Bye-bye.
soon.